So, it's been a minute. Welcome back. Hi, my name is Kat and welcome to Flaming Llama Knits. I am basically just here to have fun, talk about my knitting, my crocheting, my spinning, which we'll get into here in a little bit, and all of the cool fiber artsy things that I've been doing over the past year or so since I started really getting into fiber arts again. So today we're going to do a 2025 recap. I'm a little bit late on it because work and life and everything has been super crazy, so I won't get into all of the nitty-gritty details because honestly it's a lot of stuff that you guys probably do not care about, but we're gonna go ahead and just get started. So these are all of my finished objects for 2025. So I started 2025 crocheting and not knitting. I had no clue what and how to use knitting needles or anything like that. So let's start with some crocheted stuff. So we're going to start with my first ever beanie. This is a ribbed beanie. It's super cute. This has so many mistakes, I can't even tell you. This was my first finished object in my crochet journey, and honestly, well, actually, that's kind of a lie. So I learned how to crochet a few years ago, and then I left it because it was just taking forever. My wrists were hurting. I honestly just wasn't really doing it well. And then I picked it back up at the end of 2024, early 2025, and I made this beanie. This yarn is a 100% cotton. I know. I don't know why either. And it has a lot of mistakes. It is also really uncomfortable to wear, and it's like slightly warm, but like not really. So I was so proud of it though when I first finished it, and I love the colors. I think this is Big Twist cotton, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it's gonna be Loops and Threads cotton. It's one of those two. This was either right as I was getting into Joann's, which of course, RIP Joann's. But yeah, this was actually really difficult for me to make at the time because even though it was repetitive and I did get a little bit better, y'all, what is this? This is like the worst. Like, what? This is me grafting, or not grafting, putting things together at the top. Yeah, I guess grafting. And then I didn't even weave in my end. I literally just like knotted it and said, screw it. Which, you know what? Not a terrible thing. But like knowing now that I love weaving in ends, I don't know why I did that. But yeah, first finished object, this lovely 100% cotton, very uncomfortable to wear beanie. Now, staying with the theme of beanies, but not really, is this bucket hat, also made out of 100% cotton. So I know for a fact that this is Big Twist 100% cotton, and this is much softer, so the other one must be Loops and Threads, because Loops and Threads to me is a little bit rougher than Big Twist cotton. This one is actually much better made, but it is massive. Look at this. Like, I can't, actually I'm going to put it on my head so y'all see how massive it is. Guys, like, gauge? Gauge does not exist here, apparently. I just like yeeted that away. Did y'all see that? That was insane. So yeah, gauge does not exist here. But I was very, very proud of this. I actually made this while I was at on a trip to Albuquerque with my husband, and I was very proud of it. Okay, I was insanely proud of it. So we're just gonna put this aside and just let it go to the graveyard of things that I'm going to keep but never use because I'm very proud of them. Because at the time it was the best I could do. We're just gonna put that right there. So after I finished that hat journey, I said, you know what? I am good enough to graduate to bags. Spoiler alert, I was not good enough to graduate to bags. But we went ahead and tried that anyway. So our next finished object is this super cute, really needed to be blocked bag. That is upside down. Bag. Okay, this is made in 100% acrylic. This is Circolo. And this was also my first time doing a granny square. And I don't know why I chose like specifically like a daisy granny square, which, I mean, if you look right behind me, which is going to be our next finished object, spoiler alert, it is like super cute, but also like I didn't really know how to do it. And some of these are literally like sewn on backwards. And what is this border? So anyway, we were a very adventurous crochet beginner. And honestly, the only reason I've kept this is because it's my first ever bag that I ever made. And even looking at it now, like with all the beginner mistakes and all the things that I was like, I don't know how to do, but I'm just going to do it anyway. It's honestly kind of cute. Like I kind of want to remake this now that I am a much better crocheter, because this is honestly like I was cooking. This is kind of a nice like color combo and like design. Yeah, I would do it in a different yarn, but I was cooking. It's pretty good. Okay, next thing is this other bag. So this is made in 100% recycled wool. I don't know why either. But this was also made while I was in Albuquerque, and it's just like a little mesh bag. Honestly, even though it's made in 100% recycled wool, and I wouldn't use this yarn again, this was Sirdar, I think, 100% recycled wool, and it's got like these little tweedy flecks. This would be really good in like a, I don't know if you can see. This would be really, really good in like a cardigan or something. Not very good for a bag, very, very stretchy. But the good thing about that is that it's really great for a produce bag, like one of those market bags. It is really great for one of those. And it lets produce like breathe, and it's got a pretty good flat bottom, well, flat-ish bottom. It goes flat, but it's honestly a really good bag. Like this is probably the only bag that I've made so far crochet wise that I could say, you know, or from this era that I could say, yeah, you know what, this was a really good bag. Like I cooked. The pattern, by the way, is also by Sirdar, and it is a really good pattern. 100% would recommend. I'll put it on the screen probably right around here, because I don't remember off the top of my head what pattern this was, but honestly I would do it again. Was a very fun pattern, and it was really easy on the wrist. These are all just triple crochets, and honestly, A+. Okay, so I lied earlier. I totally forgot about this lovely thing that I said was going to be our next finished object, and then I just like went right through it. But this is my pride and joy. This is the Daisy Granny Square throw or blanket. I think it's the throw size. Oh man, it's gonna kill me. I don't remember who the designer is off the top of my head, but she's amazing. I've made the cardigan also, which I don't have with me because that is currently in the wash. So I'll have to put a picture of it right here, or here, somewhere. I'll put it somewhere. And it's the same granny square, and I love it. Literally, it's one of my favorite things that I ever have, but it is currently in the wash, and I did not plan that that was going to still be in the wash when I was filming this video, so here we are. But I love this thing. This is actually made in an acrylic wool blend, and I cooked with this one too, because I can throw it in the wash. And it doesn't really shrink or anything. It's just maybe I think it's 80-20 acrylic wool, which is perfect. It's super soft. It hasn't given me any issues. The cats have gone to town on it. It hasn't come apart. This is my first crochet project that I was like, wow, I really do know how to crochet now. This is really great. So some other projects that I had these 3 little plushies that I ended up donating to the Kerrville flood relief while we were doing that here with Twin Stitches, which it was so much fun. They had so many plushies to give away. It felt really nice to be able to do that. And yeah, I think that's it for my crochet projects so far, because then I decided, you know what, I really want to make more garments. So I'm going to try my hand at knitting. And then we get to the wide world of knitting. So when I started crocheting all those years ago, I was just terrified of knitting. And then I learned how to knit via YouTube. I took a couple of classes at my local yarn store, which is Yarnivore here in San Antonio, which I love and I have become kind of a regular at. And I just fell in love, and knitting is just kind of like my thing now. Even though I do still love to crochet, knitting is definitely a little bit higher on my list. My first ever knitting project was actually a Sophie scarf, which I know I'm basic. Let's just get that out of the way. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in this house. I used it not that long ago. I put it away, or so I thought. I put it in my bin, which has a bunch of cedar blocks in it because moths. And I cannot find it. It is not in this bin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a different Sophie scarf that I made for a friend that I haven't shipped out yet. Sorry, Caitlin. And this is it. So this is way better made than the other one. My first Sophie scarf was a hot mess. Like, it is honestly, like, I still use it, but I don't know what I was thinking. It's made in the same recycled wool as that bag, that like market bag looking thing. And this is so much nicer. This is made in Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere. And I don't remember what the color is, the colorway is. I don't know why I forgot that name, that word. I don't know what the colorway is, but it is so soft and I'm really excited to send this to her. So now that I have it out, I'm just going to put it over here so that I remember that I have to mail that out to her. So after I finished that Sophie scarf, I said, you know what? Now that I know kind of how to knit, which I did not, but like aside, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my first garment. So I did, and I chose to make the June top by Petite Knit. So I did that in Knitting for Olive cotton merino, held double. It took me forever to make because I was on Body Island for like a million years, and I don't know how at whatever point I didn't realize I was super off gauge. Yes, we know. It's like the number one beginner issue. Whenever anyone gets started, it's like, are they on gauge? No, they're never on gauge. If you've ever been on gauge, I need you to sound off in the comments, because like if you're a beginner and your first project was like perfectly on gauge, because I don't think I've actually met anybody that first project was ever like exactly perfectly on gauge. And I want to meet you because you're a unicorn to me. And I am in awe of your skills of, paying attention to directions. But I did swatch. My swatch lied to me. My swatch said I was perfectly on gauge. Did not know how to swatch in the round, so I just swatched regularly. Just little stockinette. And yeah, that didn't work. But I'm going to show you my June top. It is hilariously oversized. I have worn it once, and I really need to frog it, y'all, because now that I know a little bit more about knitting, I know that I can do a much better job by it, and it's way too big. So let me show this to you. This is my June top. So I'm going to put my mic down so I could show you just the sheer size of this. This is in size 4, I believe, 5. It's whatever the extra large is. One sec. Okay, it doesn't look that massive on camera, but I assure you it is massive on me. I don't know where I went wrong. Actually, I do know where I went wrong. It's because I gauge swatched and I didn't gauge swatch in the round. And because it's bottom up, I didn't try it on as I went because there was no way to try it on as I went. So yeah, it's just massive. So this is a frog and redo because I love this yarn, and even though it was a little hard to work with, I love this yarn. I love the way that it drapes. I love the way that it feels once it's worked up. and the fabric that it makes. So I really want to remake it, but there's just has been no time to redo it and to frog it completely. So I know I need to do that. So next project on our docket, let me take out some of the other projects, get a little sneak peek down there, is my step-by-step sweater. Okay, so let's talk about the step-by-step sweater. The last vlog that I made before I took this really, really long break, I made this I think halfway through my step-by-step sweater, and it was gorgeous. I also swatched for this, and my swatch also lied to me. But it was not all its fault, so we're not going to blame our swatch completely. I decided that I was going to go with the pretty yarn that I really, really wanted to grab at Hill Country Weavers, rest in peace. And I went with a Malabrigo Rios, not knowing what superwash merino wool is. And I treated it just like wool. And I made the sweater to specifications. And then I messed up on the sleeves. I don't know how, but I completely blew past the part where you're supposed to decrease on the sleeves. So I have these massive bell sleeves that are just like not it. So I'm going to redo those. So you'll see the massive bell sleeves, but just be aware. Those are going to get redone. And when I went to block this, it went from a size extra large to like a 5XL. It was like a dress. And the stitches were super big. And I was freaking out because like the yarn is so expensive, and it was, quite frankly, a lot of time, a lot of money invested. And I was just like, what in the world should I do? So I went online and I Googled just like, what do I do? And everybody was like, throw it in the dryer. And I was terrified because what do you hear when you first start? Don't throw wool in the dryer. It's going to shrink. You hear your whole life, don't throw wool in the dryer, it's going to shrink. I didn't know what superwash was. So then I looked up superwash merino, and you can throw it in the dryer. You can throw it in the dryer, guys. Did you know that you can throw it in the dryer? So I threw it in the dryer, and it shrunk back to size, and it was fine. Everything was good. But the sleeves are, insane. So I'm going to put my mic down again, and I'm going to show you this sweater, which I'm actually very proud of. But the sleeves are going to get redone because it's not a vibe. One sec. Oh, this is inside out. Yes, I know it's massive. I did make it oversized originally. I did, once I tried it on after it shrunk back to size, tried it on. And I honestly, I think the raglan is a little too deep, but this is one of those things, like kind of like the beanies that I first crocheted. I want to finish and fix the sleeves, but I don't really want to redo this. I'm not sure if I should redo this. And honestly, the more that I think about it, the more that I'm like, no, I really don't want to redo this because it doesn't feel right to redo it, especially because it's my first ever sweater, but the yarn is so nice. I may redo it, but the yarn is really nice. I don't know. Sound off in the comments. Should I redo it or not? I am definitely going to fix the sleeves for sure. Just FYI, for sure going to fix the sleeves. But other than that, we'll see. So our next finished object is going to be this also inside out. What is up with me? Also inside out shirt. 1 second. Okay, so this is also a raglan shirt. It is pure stockinette from the top down. There is one thing I'm going to modify on this now that I've blocked it, and it's the neckline. Because it's 100% cotton. Well, actually, no, it's a cotton viscose blend, I believe. It's Baracco's Modern Cotton. I'll actually put the breakdown here because I don't remember off the top of my head. But it is gorgeous and I love it. And it's like literally one of my favorite things ever. But the neckline does extend or get wider as you go. And I don't know that that is the solution. because it does make it a little bit unwearable toward the end of your like wear cycle. So not the vibe. We're going to change that up. Um, and we're just going to not do that. We're going to go ahead and go back. I do thankfully have some yarn left. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make, add a couple of rows and maybe thread an elastic through there because it is really wide and I can't do that. I would love to wear it to work. Can't do that because by the end of the day, it's going to be like falling off of my shoulders. That's how insanely it just like widens as it goes. Yeah, it's not the vibe. So next, why are all of my knits like inside out? Oh wait, no, this one's not inside out. Okay, so while I was at here, Hill Country Weavers, if I can say that correctly, Hill Country Weavers before it shut down, I went on a little bit of a shopping trip there and I got this gorgeous Noro Hanui silk and it sat in a box for the longest time with cedar blocks because I didn't know what to do with the yarn and I only had like 600 yards and I looked and I searched and I searched and at first I was like I'm just going to make a Sophie hood and then it turns out I didn't have enough for a Sophie hood. So then I was like I'm going to make a Sophie shawl and then it turns out I didn't have enough for a Sophie shawl either. And then I was like I really should have gotten the third skein and then they shut down and I was like no. So I did a lot of pattern research and I really didn't want to make this pattern to begin with. And I decided, you know what? Everybody seems to love it. There must be a reason why everybody loves it. So this is my first ranunculus. And it is easily my favorite thing in my wardrobe, my knit wardrobe right now. I love it. So I did make a couple modifications on it. Let me show it to you first, though. Let me put this down. So I did make a couple modifications to it. You'll notice that the sleeve is not finished. So it's just a stockinette rolled edge. That is by design. It is hot, so hot in San Antonio, like 90% of the year. And if I were to wear this wool silk blend in the spring without it ending quite literally right here, I'm gonna cook. There's no way. There's no way around it. I'm literally going to die. So I went ahead and I skipped the part where it goes down here and then you put the rib. No, we're not doing that. We're ending it with the stockinette roll. I love the stockinette roll. I know some people don't. I love it personally. So I kept the stockinette roll. The other modification I did is that I made it a little bit longer. So it does go down to like cover the top part of like my pants. The reason why is because I do wear a lot of skirts at work and I do love a longer shirt whenever I wear a skirt. So I figured, you know what, I can pair this with a skirt and it's going to be perfect. It's going to be beautiful. And it has been. I've worn this easily the most out of everything. I bought some yarn tomorrow to make another ranunculus. Yeah, y'all were right. The ranunculus pattern, gorgeous and also just fun to make. Like, love it. It's literally so much fun. I love it. Okay, so last finished object of 2025 are my first ever pair of socks, guys. These are my first ever pair of socks. These are the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee. I made these in Malabrigo sock, I guess, ultimate sock in the color Neverland. My first ever pair of socks I'm actually really impressed by, even though I went up a needle size. They're still really nice and I really like them. And I honestly really like that they're a little bit more open and like not as, I guess, tight as they would have been at the 2.25 millimeter needle. I did use a 3.25 millimeter needle, mostly because I couldn't find my 2.25 millimeter needle and I really wanted to make socks. So like, I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go and ride this high. So I love these. I'm actually working on another pair of I'm So Basic socks right now. there is another pair that I made and I neglected to take a good picture. So this is literally a screen cap of a Instagram story. Those were a gift, and that was my only gift knit of 2025 aside from the Sophie scarf that I still need to mail, which does that mean it's a gift knit for 2025 or for 2026? Like, I don't know. But yes, socks. We love it. Okay. So that is all of my finished objects for 2025. How exciting. Okay, so this next part is actually going to talk about some of the things that I did in 2025 that I didn't actually get to put on YouTube because I got so busy, and I did film and I did get B-roll for and everything, and I went ahead and I edited it all together, and that is my Minneapolis St. Paul yarn tour. So I went to Minneapolis, St. Paul, to the Twin Cities area, if I can talk, to the Twin Cities area over the summer, right around Minnesota State Fair time. I was there for the first weekend of the state fair, and easily the best state fair I've ever been to. I'd heard that the Minnesota State Fair was like the most amazing state fair of all time. I fear they're right. It's amazing. Literally just the best. I love it so much. And I cannot wait to go back this year. I got to see some goats and some sheep. And I was just so excited. And I got to see them shearing a sheep. Like, how freaking cool is that? So anyway, without much further ado, let's go ahead and go in. There is going to be a voiceover because I want to tell you guys all about it. And I want to show you guys everything. And all of it is coming up right now. Welcome to my trip to Minneapolis. This is on Lake Superior, which I'd never gone to and is beautiful, amazing experience. So we headed to the state fair first, and that's what we're going to chat about first. That's my friend Caitlin, my best friend Caitlin. This is the state fair, best fair in the country. So we did head out to see the animals first, and that was easily one of my favorite parts. The rest is going to be essentially just a montage of footage from the fair. This is the Creative Activities building, and everything was so gorgeous. Everyone did an amazing job, and so many of these patterns are just so beautiful. It makes me want to do color work. I left so inspired and so just in love with knitting and in love with weaving and everything. It was just so amazing. And I have a little clip here.
Okay, had to drop this in here. I'm at the Minnesota State Fair, and I just got done at the Creative Activities building. And you know you're a knitter when you go and you see all of the knitted garments and stuff that have won awards, and you can recognize more than half of the patterns that have won. And it was so pretty. They definitely deserve them. Amazing work.
So after that, we went on the, I forget what it's called. Oh, these Pronto Pups, amazing, my favorite. And then Sweet Martha's at the end. So good. I had some to take home, like insane. And the fireworks were so pretty at the end of the night. Now our first yarn store is the famous Darn It Anyway. So I got the most fun needle stoppers at this yarn store. Wow, I don't know how to talk. They had a little water cooler area, and their section to like hang out was 2 stories, and it's massive. Y'all, there's so much space to just sit and knit. I was in shock, in awe, just so amazing, and everywhere was so comfy. And like, check out this pillow down here, okay? So there's gonna be, this pillow, like so gorgeous. And that is Darn It Anyway in Stillwater. So the next place we went to was Knitting from the Heart, and they were in St. Paul, I believe, but I didn't get any footage because I forgot. So also in St. Paul, we went to Yarnery, and Yarnery had all of these amazing yarns that I'd never seen anywhere else and that I'd heard of but never seen, like Holskarn. So take a peek at all of these gowns, like so gorgeous, and they're so perfectly arranged. Then we went to Knit and Bolt. So Knit and Bolt is like a combination knitting sewing store. So they have bolts of fabric, And they have a ton of kits and just yarn, and they also had a mystery yarn bag section, so I did get one of those, and I got some sock yarn. They also had a bunch of trinkets and a bunch of different like notions and things you could grab, and their store was just so colorful and so cute. I had a great time. So the next place is Needle and Skein, and I also don't have footage from there. I'm sorry guys. I literally just have this clip. The next place we went to was Dandelion Fiber Co. So Dandelion Fiber Co. is gorgeous, amazing store. The owner was there and she actually gave me a bag, guys. This is where I was able to see Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, which I grabbed a skein of, and it was so cute. I'm probably gonna make a beanie. And that's it for our 2025 recap. Hope you liked it. If you did like it and you want to see more of me, more of my knitting content, please like and subscribe this video. It does help out a lot with the algorithm. I am still a very, 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 very small channel, so anything you can do to help me would be super appreciated. And you can also follow me on Instagram and on TikTok and at Flaming Llama Knits. And I do post a lot more often on there. I am going to hopefully get back to a more stable posting schedule now that I have a little bit more time. And we'll see you next time. Bye.